You voted and the results are in. The top 10 must-add players for this week in fantasy baseball is coming up next on Beat the Odds. Don't go anywhere. Hello, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. I've got your top 10 hottest players to pick up for Week 11 in fantasy baseball. Now, I want to thank all of you for casting 805 total votes, which was the driving force behind this week's list. Before I reveal the list, if you're a fan of this content, please smash that like button. And if you're new here and appreciate quality fantasy baseball insight, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so that way you don't miss an episode. Also, keep an eye out for the polls on who you should be picking up ahead of Week 12. Do you have a burning fantasy baseball question? Ask me on Q. Go to askmeonq.com/beattheodds, submit your question, and for a small fee, I will personalize a response and send it to your email. It's super easy to do, and it's a great way to get fantasy baseball advice while also supporting this channel. Let's kick off this list at number 10. We got Tyler Stevenson, 23% owned, 54% of the catcher's votes this week, 8 runs scored over the last 2 weeks, a homer, 6 runs batted in, and a .302 average. Now, I checked in on him earlier this season, and he was a great pickup, even though his numbers were very substandard. I did this because Stevenson's expected batting average was much higher than the batting average he was currently sporting. It's now starting to level off, and he's now playing like a top 10 offensive catcher. His profile screams for a big second half to this season. Let's go to number 9. We have Jonathan India, 57% owned, 66% of the second baseman's votes this week, 8 runs scored over the last 2 weeks, a homer, 11 runs batted in, a stolen base, and a .308 average. Sticking with 27-year-old Reds hitters, India is embracing his contact ways, and he's proving to us that he can still be an asset on fantasy baseball teams. He's always been aggressive on the base pass despite middling speed, but this year his batting eye has taken off to a new level. His 14.6% walk rate makes him an excellent candidate to lead off for this team. Moving on to number 8, we have Ben Brown, 50% owned, 25% of the pitcher's votes this week, no wins, 16 strikeouts, 3.75 ERA, and a .75 whip over the last 2 weeks. Brown's knuckle curveball is still carrying his successes to start his career. His 96-mile-an-hour fastball, it only really grades out as an average pitch, and he rarely uses his changeup. The result is that he gets a high whiff percentage and strikeout percentage, but it's mostly with his curveball. And if an opponent is able to guess right on his pitch, it gets hit hard. I like his stuff, but he needs to work on a third pitch in order for me to feel comfortable rostering him. Moving on to number 7, we have Jeff Hoffman, 46% owned, 64% of the relievers' votes this week, a save, 6 strikeouts, no ERA, and a 1 whip over the last 2 weeks. Hoffman might be the best reliever on this Phillies squad, and that's saying a lot. He's doing a great job of mixing his pitches, and opponents are having a hard time centering him up as he's only allowed 6 extra base hits so far. Hoffman is also being trusted to close more games. Now, I don't think there's word that there's going to be a switch for closers, but he's certainly a great player to have should Alvarado start to struggle. Moving on to number 6, we have Mark Vientos, 41% owned, 58% of the third baseman's votes this week, 5 runs scored, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in, and a .324 average over the last 2 weeks. Vientos has been a revelation at the hot corner for the Mets. So much so that it's forced the Mets brass to send down Brett Beatty, who's now taking reps at second base instead of third. I don't think that his current 980 OPS is sustainable, but I also don't suspect a huge correction coming. If you were to combine Vientos' minor league stats with his major league stats this year, he's already hit 11 homers and driven in 43 runs. Let's go to number 5. We have Nick Gonzalez, 43% owned, 62% of the second baseman's votes this week, 6 runs scored, 2 homers, 10 runs batted in, a stolen base, and a .317 average over the last 2 weeks. Now, good luck trying to get a fastball over against this rookie. He's crushing them to a tune of a .372 batting average this year, and he's been locked in since he's come up, and actually has played a very integral role in the Pirates' offense over the last couple of weeks. The pair of steals that he has for the season is not indicative of his sprint speed, so I'd expect him to accumulate a lot more before this season has ended. Let's go to number 4. We have Heliot Ramos, 40% owned over the last 2 weeks. He's got 5 runs scored, 3 homers, 11 runs batted in, and a .375 average, and he took home 36% of the outfielders' votes this week. StatCast loves Heliot Ramos, and you should too. He's showcasing 5-tool talent, and outside of some strikeout concerns, he hasn't shown many weaknesses at the plate. He needs to be rostered if he's available, as you may not find another young player with as high a ceiling on the waiver wires this year. He's got the ability to hit 20 bombs and steal 10 bases before this season comes to an end. Let's move on to number 3. We have Matt Waldron, 40% owned, 43% of the starters' votes this week, a win, 12 strikeouts, 0.6 ERA, and a .60 whip over the last 2 weeks. The knuckleball is back, baby. Although he only throws it 37% of the time, it accounts for 40 of his 68 strikeouts on the year. He's also been able to cut down the spin rate, which has led to better success with the pitch this season. Waldron has done a great job of inducing weak fly balls, and he's done a decent job of limiting walks, which is not easy to do for a knuckleball pitcher. Moving on to number 2, we have Heimer Candelario. 51% owned, 63% of the first baseman's votes this week, 5 runs scored, 3 homers, 6 runs batted in, 2 stolen bases, and a .304 average over the last 2 weeks. Even though Candelario got the second most votes in our polls this week, he wouldn't really be my highest priority pickup. Now, granted, he does have positional flexibility and the Great American Sandbox in his favor, but one look at his StatCast will reveal why I'm kind of staying away from him. He still has the ability to run into a pitch and send it a long, long way, so it's worth a pickup if you believe that he can do that consistently for the rest of the year. And finally, at number 1, we have TJ Friedl, 56% owned, 49% of the outfielders' votes this week, 7 runs scored, 2 homers, 8 runs batted in, 2 stolen bases, and a .258 average over the last 2 weeks. Reds hitters absolutely dominated the polls this week, and TJ Friedl came out on top. He's been pretty much the left-handed version of Jonathan India, which isn't really a bad thing when you get to call the Great American Ballpark home. He is a bit of an overachiever, but you can chalk that up to his work ethic. There's no reason to think that he can't repeat his successes that he had from last season. And that's going to do it here for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like on the video and of course subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I am going to sign off for now, but I will catch you guys on the next episode.